What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn, the series where I answer your questions. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, one of the world's leading VPNs. Protecting yourself online is getting more important every day, and Surfshark provides some of the best security available with high-level encryption and a multi-hop system allowing connections to 2 servers for extra protection. Surfshark has a very strict no-logs policy which guarantees your privacy online. Now, with so many people spending more time at home, one of Surfshark's best features is the ability to access region-locked streaming content anywhere in the world. Surfshark gives you access to dozens of streaming libraries including Netflix, Disney Plus, and more. This allows you to view content that might be blocked in your area but is available somewhere else. Surfshark also has great 24/7 support and a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning you have nothing to risk when you try it out. And right now you can take advantage of a great special offer using my code BLAMETC or the link down below. You can get 83% off and 3 months free. But the offer is only good for a limited time, so click the link down below and try it out. Let's get started. First question, could Symmetra's turrets work as healing beams? This is something that has been suggested a million times, but I believe that Blizzard, Jeff Kaplan possibly, might have actually talked about this at one point. I vaguely remember someone at Blizzard mentioning that they did actually try to change Symmetra's turrets into healing back when she was still into the support role, but it didn't quite work as well as they wanted, and for whatever reasons, they just didn't like it. Now, is it possible they could end up going back to this or trying it out again? Probably not with Symmetra. It's entirely possible they could have some new support character that would have a kind of stationary healing like that. Essentially, it's like a dispenser type thing, right? Like you throw it on the ground, and when the teammates come by, it starts healing whoever has the lowest health or the lowest percentage health or something like that. You definitely could do that. One of my hero concepts, Derby, actually has something that is similar to that. Not exactly the same, but kind of along the same idea. But is it ever going to happen with Symmetra? I don't think so. And when we move into Overwatch 2, I do think that there's a good possibility that some of the characters are going to get moved into different roles. And the next question is actually going to address that one as well. But do I think that Symmetra is going to get moved back into healing? No, I don't think so. And following up on that, next question, do you think Bastion could be reworked to function as a tank in Overwatch 2? Every time this question got brought up about Bastion getting reworked into a tank, I always said no under the current version of the tank role. However, with Overwatch 2, all of the characters in the tank role are going to be reworked, maybe smaller changes for some and bigger changes for other, but they're getting changed into what are essentially bruiser-type characters. They're going to be more like Roadhog, less like Reinhardt, and more like Roadhog. And in that case, could you take Bastion, rework him a little bit, and then put him into the tank role with that new bruiser style of play? And I think, yeah, you could do that. And I have been working on a new Bastion rework video for a while now. I put out one quite a while ago, but there's been a lot of stuff that has changed in the game since then, and I wanted to kind of revisit that idea. And now that I'm revisiting the Bastion rework again, I'm kind of thinking about possibly making him into the tank role instead, because he just has a very big hitbox compared to a lot of the other DPS characters. He also has a lot more health. Now, granted, the health and the armor is easy. Those are just numbers. You could easily just remove those and lower it. But the thing is, his hitbox is really huge. So if you're going to lower his health, but he still has that big hitbox, it becomes a problem, right? Like, the bigger the hitbox on the character, you kind of need to have more health. So it makes a little bit more sense to kind of beef up that health and armor a little bit, and then just keep that really large hitbox, and then just slide him into the tank role. So I think it would actually be possible in the new style of tank role with the bruisers in Overwatch 2. In the current Overwatch, no, he would never work as a tank. But in Overwatch 2, maybe. When Overwatch 2 is out, are you going to create a guild? In case you didn't see it before, there was kind of a little bit of a leak with the teasers at BlizzCon with the screenshots and the video and stuff. And it does appear that there is going to be a guild system with Overwatch 2. It might not get released right when the game comes out, but it's definitely something that they're working on. Now, am I going to create a guild? I don't really know. Maybe, maybe not. The thing is, I don't want to just create a guild and then just have it be there and just like with my name on it. if I do make a guild, I want to be active in it, and I don't know if I have enough time because I have to make content for this channel, I have to make content for another YouTube channel. I'm also got lots of other stuff going on, writing books and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So I've got so much stuff. If I make a guild, I don't want to just have it be there. I actually want to be active in it. So I don't know if I would make one right now. Next up, Jeff Kaplan said he liked the idea of adding expansions for story missions for PvE. What kind of content do you think will be added? With Overwatch 2, we're going to get that big campaign mission, and that's going to be told from the side of Overwatch. And this is going to be Reinhardt and Torbjorn and Mei and the rest of them, right? So that's from that side. But if we get any kind of expansion, it's either just going to be a continuation of that story, or what I would like to see is the other side. I would like to see what happens with Talon, and that would be Doomfist and Reaper and Moira and whoever else they get added into Talon. I would like to have, the first campaign, you get to see what kind of, the Overwatch and the quote-unquote good guys are doing, and then the next time we get a big PvE campaign to see what Talon or, quote-unquote the bad guys are doing. I think that would be a really cool thing to do where they could alternate it. You have one side and then you do the other and then you go back and forth. I think that would be probably the best way to handle the expansion. Next up, does it take you a long time to make hero concepts? It really depends. Some of them might only take a couple of days, and I can very easily put together the abilities, and they all seem to connect well. Then it's just a matter of getting the artwork and putting the video together. Other character concepts might take a very long time because I'll come up with an idea for something, whether it's just the character design in general, or maybe there's one ability that I really want to use, and then I have to find other stuff that will fit with it. And sometimes that takes a while. And other times I just end up just completely scrapping that character and just taking bits and pieces of it and moving it into other character concepts. So it really depends. Next up, would it be a good idea to make accounts verify with a phone number to limit the number of throwers and smurfs? Yes, it absolutely would. I don't know why Blizzard hasn't done this yet. You need to do this in order to get into the top 500 rankings, so they already have the system in place where you can do this. I don't know why they don't extend it to just the competitive mode in general. I think maybe it would take a little bit of extra work on their part, but certainly the benefit is well worth the cost to get rid of all the Smurfs that you have. Now, it's not going to get rid of all of them, to be sure, because people will borrow the phone number of a friend or a family or something like that. So they're always going to have more, but a very, very large amount of the Smurf accounts would go away almost overnight if you were to implement a system like this. I don't know why Blizzard isn't doing it. Next up, why does a game like Valorant have a lot of smoke abilities while Overwatch doesn't? There are a couple of reasons for this. First, in a game like Valorant or CSGO, it's a much slower pace, and it's more about area control on a map. You need to be able to hold angles on the walls and all that sort of stuff. So having those kinds of abilities are very, very important in that type of a game. Overwatch is much faster paced, and you really don't need to do that sort of stuff. Also, you have to consider how often those abilities get to be used, whether it's CSGO or Valorant, whatever. Then you can only use one or two of them each round, and you have to buy them for most of the characters. I think maybe some of the characters in Valorant might have them automatically, but for the most part, you need to buy them, and you also only get one or two per round. Whereas in Overwatch, let's say it's a 10 or a 12-second cooldown, could you imagine having a big puff of smoke out in the middle of the capture point every 10 seconds or every 12 seconds? That would get very, very frustrating. The only alternative would be if you had it like a 30-second cooldown, which is just dumb. Like, you shouldn't have cooldowns that are that long. So that's primarily the reason why you don't have those kinds of abilities in Overwatch, is just because how frequently they would get used and how annoying it would get. Next up, do you believe Winston, Reaper, and Pharah should get completed kits? Should heroes have all abilities filled? Yes, absolutely. This means a primary, a right-click, 2 abilities, an ultimate, and a passive for every single character. There's a couple of reasons for this. The first is that, believe it or not, having more stuff on the character actually makes it easier to balance that character, because the devs would have more options, more knobs, more dials that they can move around and change in order to more finely tune that character. When a character has just a limited amount of stuff that it can do, then the devs only have a limited amount of options. Well, maybe we'll just lower the health, or will they increase the damage on the main ability and that sort of stuff. But when you have a bunch of options, well, now you can change it a little here, or maybe you can change it a little there, and there's a wide variety of things and different possibilities that the devs would have in order to more finely tune and balance that character. Another thing with this is that it makes it easier to balance the characters for both the upper and the lower bracket at the same time. When you have a character with more abilities, it means that a player needs to have a higher amount of skill in order to be effective with that character, because you have to make more decisions on cooldown management and all that sort of stuff, and especially if some of the abilities require accuracy and those sort of things. So what ends up happening is the character will then become easier to more finely tune, because there are going to be certain things, like health, for example, or primary damage, that you can modify, which will affect both the upper and the lower bracket at the same time, kind of in an equal amount. But then there are other things like passives and other certain types of abilities where it is going to more greatly affect the upper bracket, or there are going to be some abilities that will more greatly affect the lower bracket. And when you have a character with multiple abilities and a lot of stuff going on, it means that Blizzard can, once again, they can target the things specifically that will help the lower bracket, or things that will specifically help the upper bracket. So, should these characters have a full kit? Should they have all of the abilities maxed up? Yes, absolutely. Every single character should have all of the abilities filled out. Next up, do you think an ability that increases respawn time for enemies would work? Probably not. I think it would be way too powerful, particularly on any maps where you're the attacking team. Yeah, they're getting rid of 2 capture point maps, but we're still going to have payload maps and stuff. So let's say you're towards the end of the payload map, and then you have an ability that adds an extra 5 seconds or 10 seconds to the defender's respawn. That would just be ridiculously powerful. It would almost be a must pick in a lot of situations, and I just don't really think it's all that good of an idea. Maybe if it was an ultimate, but even then, I don't know. I don't think it really works with Overwatch. I know that there's an ability like this in Dota 2, and that works quite well, but that's a different type of game, and for Overwatch, I just don't really think that adding to the respawn time is a good idea. And that is going to be all the questions for this week. Thank you to everyone who submitted one. There is a new question card over on the community tab of my YouTube channel. There'll be a link for that down below. And also, while you're down there, make sure you check out the video sponsor, Surfshark. Get a great deal, 83% off and 3 months free when you sign up using my code BlameTC. Links for that down below. A big thanks to all the Paragons and other channel members for all your support. If you'd like to become one and grab some cool rewards, click the join button down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like before you leave. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.